Ladies and gentlemen, aging is a blessing, but only if we choose our company wisely. The people we surround ourselves with in our later years can either bring us peace or steal our joy. In youth, we can tolerate many things, but in old age, our peace of mind is non-negotiable. So, who must we avoid to live with dignity, happiness, and fulfillment? The choices we make today determine the peace we find tomorrow. Every decision, no matter how small, carries consequences that shape our future. We often believe that peace is something external, something that happens to us by chance or circumstance. But true peace is not a random occurrence. It is the result of intentional choices made every day that lead us toward a life of fulfillment and inner harmony. Think about the choices we make in relationships. The people we surround ourselves with influence our emotions, our mindset, and even our sense of purpose. If we choose to be in toxic relationships, those filled with negativity, manipulation, or constant conflict, we are setting ourselves up for a future filled with distress and unrest. On the other hand, if we choose to build strong, uplifting connections with people who genuinely care for us, we lay the foundation for a peaceful and meaningful life. Our financial decisions also play a crucial role in shaping our peace of mind. Many people live recklessly in their younger years, spending without thought, accumulating unnecessary debt, and ignoring the importance of financial security. But money problems do not simply disappear as we age. They multiply. The burden of debt, the stress of financial instability, and the regret of missed opportunities can steal the peace we long for in our later years. However, those who choose to save wisely, invest in their future, and live within their means will experience a sense of security that allows them to enjoy life without constant worry. Health is another area where today's choices directly impact tomorrow's peace. The way we treat our bodies, what we eat, how much we exercise, and how we manage stress determines our well-being in the future. Many people neglect their health, assuming they can fix things later. But the reality is that our body keeps a record of how we have treated it. Poor choices in diet and lifestyle can lead to chronic illnesses, pain, and discomfort that rob us of the peace we seek. Those who choose to take care of themselves early, however, often enjoy a life of mobility, strength, and vitality long into old age. Mental and emotional well-being also depend on the choices we make today. Holding on to grudges, living with resentment, or constantly dwelling on past mistakes can create a life filled with unnecessary suffering. Forgiveness, gratitude, and letting go of negativity are choices that free the heart from burdens that would otherwise follow us into the future. A peaceful mind does not come from an easy life. It comes from a mind that has been trained to find peace despite challenges. In the end, the future is not something that happens to us. It is something we create step by step with every choice we make. Those who seek peace tomorrow must be willing to make the right decisions today, no matter how difficult they may seem. Peace is not accidental. It is earned through wisdom, discipline, and a heart that prioritizes what truly matters. Time is precious. Why waste it on those who drain our spirit? Every second we have is a gift, one that cannot be reclaimed once it is gone. Yet so often we find ourselves entangled with people who do nothing but deplete our energy, cloud our joy, and burden our hearts. Life is too short to be spent in the company of those who do not uplift us. Yet many of us allow negativity to seep into our days simply because we fear letting go. And there are people who constantly complain, always finding something wrong with life, no matter how much beauty surrounds them. Instead of seeking solutions, they dwell in problems. Instead of gratitude, they choose bitterness. When we spend too much time with them, we begin to absorb their pessimism, and before we know it, their unhappiness becomes our own. Why should we allow their negativity to dictate our mood? Every moment spent listening to complaints that lead nowhere is a moment stolen from our own peace. Then there are those who manipulate people, who use guilt, obligation, or deceit to keep us tied to them. They do not offer genuine love or support, but expect it in return. They drain us emotionally, always taking but never giving. They leave us feeling exhausted, unappreciated, and empty. Why should we let them control our time when we could be investing it in those who truly care? Some people live in the past, constantly reminding us of our mistakes, our flaws, or moments we have long moved on from. They refuse to let us grow, always pulling us backward instead of encouraging us to move forward. They remind us of our failures, keeping us chained to guilt or regret. But our past is a lesson, not a life sentence. We should not allow anyone to hold us hostage to what we have already overcome. Every second wasted on those who refuse to see our growth is a second lost from the future we are building. There are also those who only come around when they need something. They do not call to check on us, to celebrate our joys, or to stand by us in difficult times. They only reach out when they want a favor, money, or support. Once they get what they need, they disappear until the next time they need something again. Why should we waste our time on those who see us as a convenience instead of a valued presence in their lives? Life should be filled with people who bring light, not darkness, the ones who inspire, who encourage, who bring laughter, and who add meaning to our days. We cannot avoid every negative person in life, but we can choose how much access they have to our time and energy. Every moment we spend with those who drain our spirit is a moment we could have spent with those who bring us joy. And if we truly understand how precious time is, we will protect it fiercely, spending it only on what and who truly matters. Surround yourself with love, not loneliness, for your golden years should shine, not suffer. Life is a journey, and as we grow older, the relationships we nurture determine whether we experience our later years with warmth and fulfillment or with emptiness and isolation. The truth is, no one is meant to walk through life alone. Companionship, care, and human connection are essential for a joyful and meaningful existence. Yet, many people unknowingly allow loneliness to creep in, believing that isolation is an inevitable part of aging. But it does not have to be that way. Love is not just about romantic relationships. It exists in friendships, family bonds, and even in the kindness shared between strangers. As we age, it becomes even more important to be surrounded by people who genuinely care for us, who listen, who understand, and who bring joy to our hearts. The golden years are meant to be a time of reflection, gratitude, and peace, not a period of regret and solitude. Choosing to surround ourselves with love means choosing relationships that nourish our spirit, uplift our mood, and remind us that we are valued and cherished. Loneliness, on the other hand, is a silent thief. It steals happiness, weakens the mind, and even affects physical health. Studies have shown that prolonged loneliness can lead to depression, anxiety, and a decline in overall well-being. It is not just an emotional burden, but a serious health concern. Yet, many people withdraw from others as they grow older, either because of past disappointments, the loss of loved ones, or simply the fear of being a burden. But love does not see age as a limitation. Love is found in those who appreciate our presence, who value our wisdom, and who seek to share moments of laughter, conversation, and companionship. There is a profound difference between solitude and loneliness. Solitude is chosen. It is a peaceful moment spent in reflection, enjoying one's own company. But loneliness is uninvited. It is the feeling of being forgotten, unwanted, or disconnected from the world. That is why it is important to actively seek love, to reach out, to engage with others, and to build relationships that bring light into our lives. Whether it is through family, close friends, community activities, or even finding new connections later in life, surrounding ourselves with love is a conscious decision that leads to a life of warmth rather than cold isolation. The golden years should be the most beautiful years of life. A time to celebrate the journey we have traveled, to share our stories, to pass down wisdom, and to enjoy the simple pleasures of life with people who matter. There is no reason to suffer in silence when there is so much love to be given and received. Choosing love over loneliness is choosing a life of fulfillment, joy, and peace. It is a choice that ensures our final chapters are not written in solitude, but filled with moments that shine brightly, leaving behind a legacy of love rather than one of sorrow. Toxic people are thieves of joy. Why let them rob your final chapters? Life is too short to be spent with those who drain our energy, fill our days with negativity, and take more than they give. As we grow older, our time becomes even more precious, and the people we choose to surround ourselves with can determine whether our golden years are filled with peace or plagued by unnecessary burdens. Yet, many allow toxic relationships to linger, fearing change, loneliness, or confrontation. But holding on to toxic people is like carrying a heavy weight that only slows us down, making the final chapters of our lives more difficult than they need to be. Toxic people come in many forms. Some are constantly negative, always finding something wrong with every situation, poisoning the air with their complaints and pessimism. Others are manipulators, using guilt or obligation to control us, making us feel as though we owe them something, when in reality a healthy relationship should never be built on guilt. Some people are simply selfish, only showing up when they need something, taking advantage of kindness without offering anything in return. And then there are those who are emotionally draining, who bring unnecessary drama, conflict, and stress into our lives, preventing us from experiencing the peace we deserve. The problem with toxic people is that they rarely change. They do not see the harm they cause, and even when they do, they often lack the willingness to improve. Meanwhile, the person suffering in the relationship continues to lose valuable time that could have been spent in happiness, in meaningful conversations, in laughter, or in quiet moments of peace. The older we get, the more we realize that every moment matters, and there is no justification for wasting even a single day on relationships that bring us pain instead of joy. Letting go of toxic people is not about being selfish, it is about self-respect. It is about recognizing that we deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift us, who support us, and who genuinely care for our well-being. It is about prioritizing our own mental and emotional health over the expectations or demands of those who take more than they give. Some relationships, no matter how long they have existed, reach a point where they no longer serve us. And when that happens, we must have the courage to walk away. Life is a story, and we have the power to decide how our final chapters will be written. Will they be filled with peace, love, and contentment, or will they be overshadowed by the presence of those who only bring stress, sadness, and frustration? The choice is ours. No one else can protect our joy for us. We must be the ones to guard it, to nurture it, and to ensure that the time we have left is spent with people who truly deserve to be part of our journey. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay. Some are lessons, not lifelong companions. As we journey through life, we encounter many people, each playing a role in shaping who we become. Some bring joy, others bring pain, and some simply pass through, leaving behind valuable lessons. It is easy to believe that every friendship, every relationship, and every connection is meant to last forever, but the truth is, not all are meant to stay. Holding on to people who are no longer meant to be part of our lives only brings unnecessary pain and prevents us from embracing what lies ahead. Some people enter our lives to teach us patience, resilience, and strength. They may challenge us, test our limits, or even hurt us, but in doing so, they help us grow. A friend who betrays us teaches us the importance of trust. A relationship that ends unexpectedly shows us the value of self-worth. A person who constantly lets us down teaches us not to rely on others for our happiness. While these lessons may come with pain, they serve a purpose. They shape us into wiser, stronger individuals. There are also those who come into our lives to bring temporary joy. They may be close companions for a season, sharing laughter, adventures, and meaningful moments, but over time, paths diverge, priorities shift, and what once felt inseparable begins to fade. This does not mean the relationship was a failure. It simply means it served its purpose. Not every friendship is meant to last a lifetime, and that is okay. Letting go does not mean forgetting the good times. It means appreciating them for what they were without clinging to something that no longer fits into our journey. One of the hardest lessons in life is accepting that some people outgrow us just as we outgrow them. As we change, so do our needs, values, and desires. A person who once understood us deeply may no longer connect with us in the same way. Instead of forcing a relationship that no longer aligns with who we are, it is healthier to release it with gratitude. When we try to hold on to people who have already moved on emotionally or spiritually, we create suffering for ourselves. Letting go is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of growth. Some relationships are meant to last, but they must be built on mutual respect, effort, and love. The ones that are truly meant to stay will stand the test of time, not because we force them to, but because they are meant to be part of our lifelong journey. The rest will come and go, leaving behind the lessons we need to move forward. Understanding this brings peace, freeing us from the pain of holding on to relationships that no longer serve us. Life is about embracing the flow of connections, cherishing the ones that last, and learning from those that don't. Walk with those who lift you higher, not those who pull you into the shadows. The people we surround ourselves with shape our thoughts, our emotions, and ultimately our destiny. Every relationship we invest in either strengthens us or weakens us, bringing light into our lives or dragging us into darkness. It is easy to underestimate the power of influence, but over time, the presence of the right or wrong people can determine whether we rise or fall. There are those who encourage us, who see our potential even when we doubt ourselves. They celebrate our successes, support us through challenges, and remind us of our worth. These are the people who lift us higher, who push us to become better versions of ourselves. They inspire us to dream bigger, to take risks, and to believe in possibilities we might never have considered on our own. They stand by us in difficult moments, not to criticize or tear us down, but to offer strength and wisdom when we need it most. On the other hand, there are those who pull us into the shadows. They thrive on negativity, discouragement, and doubt. Instead of building us up, they find ways to make us feel small. Sometimes they do this through harsh words and open criticism, but other times it is more subtle. A lack of support, a dismissive attitude, or a habit of belittling our dreams. They may not always intend harm, but their presence drains our energy, making us second-guess ourselves and question our worth. The more time we spend with them, the harder it becomes to see our own potential clearly. Toxic relationships do not always appear harmful at first. Sometimes they disguise themselves as friendships, family ties, or even love. But over time, the effects become clear. If we constantly feel exhausted, unappreciated, or emotionally burdened by someone's presence, it is a sign that they are not lifting us higher. They are keeping us in a place of doubt and limitation. No relationship is worth sacrificing our inner peace and self-worth. Choosing the right people in life is not about seeking perfection in others, but about finding those whose presence brings light instead of darkness. The ones who lift us higher do not always tell us what we want to hear, but they always push us toward growth. They encourage us to step outside our comfort zones, to believe in ourselves, and to pursue the things that bring us fulfillment. They are the ones who celebrate our victories without jealousy, who stand beside us without conditions, and who remind us that we are capable of greatness. Life is too short to spend it in the company of those who make us feel less than we are. Surrounding ourselves with those who lift us higher is not just a choice, it is a necessity. When we walk with those who inspire and uplift us, we move toward a future filled with possibility, purpose, and true happiness.